Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai. Here, the 2023 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. We're in beautiful ULTI.TV Christchurch. The sun is shining, the breeze is light, and it's the consolation match for third, fourth place between Credo, hailing from Christchurch, the South Island, and Big Ultimate, hailing from Wellington. What are we expecting to see in this matchup, Blair?
Hi, Kelsey. What a privilege it is. Again, my name is Blair Monroe. I'm joined in the booth by Kelsey Bielek for the All-Throw-Tahi and All-Toe-Tahi, the Mixed Ultimate Championships. Our bronze final, our thrinal, depending on how you like to call it. We're going to see Credo coming out on defense. Both of these teams only just pipped for a shot at the finals. A 2-point game, which is going to see our finalists in the next match. But at the moment, it's Lynch from Titov Smith overthrowing Halbin.
And I think that's a really critical piece of information, Blair. Going into this match, we saw both teams. Credo lost by just one or two. It was 2 points.
15-13.
And similarly big in the semifinal match on the other side, lost by just a small margin.
The exact same margin of all things. Both of the semifinals were 2-point games for our inevitable finalist. Clark with a great half leap to keep that one in hands. We're going to see Becky Farr with the disc now.
This leads us to expect, we're expecting a fantastic match here, closely fought between two strong teams today. Credo really strong off the bat. We've seen there are strong first few points. Looks like there's a call on the field. First few points, strong first half team, and in the semifinal match they showed us that they're able to carry through and then push through in the second half and really came out rolling, made up a few missed points in the first half and really carried them through. I'm stoked to see them continue that energy, that hustle this game. Looks like it was a stall out. Terry tapping the disc, and Big getting their first chance on offense. Titov Smith picking up, marked by Fernando. There's an injury.
So Legrell going to take a substitution here. Possible just a hyperextension or something on that reset, but we're going to see Tiatafai McGuinness take her place on the field.
Lynch made a bit of an ankle-breaking cut as she launched herself out to the open side. So it looks like as Legrell turned to initiate and cover that, she just slipped and fell over.
Wong tries to get a bite. Fernando shuts that down. Now, we've seen 2 turns from Big, one unforced, one secured by Richard Fernando for Credo. And another injury called.
You know, this is the time to leave everything out on the field. It's also a time when you want to make sure you're good for the rest of the game. Huge
thanks to one of our partners, Christchurch Physiotherapy, who are helping to keep our athletes upright throughout this grueling 3-day tournament. And another shout out as well to Pure Sports Nutrition, who have provided additional consideration to really make sure that our athletes are in tip-top shape for this exciting match.
And no doubt Fernando will be drinking a bit of that pure rehydration, as it looks like he's just out with a cramp. So something that is very easily resolvable.
So it's Farr, Mance, and Tiang with the disc now. We're seeing Lynch bite a little tight, leaving an unmarked Farr to push up into a deep space, but a slight miscommunication there means Douglas is not going to be able to get it into hands. It's Titov Smith straight through to Panaya to Reisner. About 10, maybe 15 meters away from the end zone. A great throw over the top of Farr to Lynch for the score. That is Big 1. Credo 0.
What a great first point for Lynch. She had some beautiful open undercuts and then securing, clinching that first point for the team as well. Let's see it one more time as it sets up Lynch with that open look, resulting in the turnover, giving Credo the chance, which led to, again, that bobbled throw. We'll see one more time. Mance, this was the stall out, a diving catch from Fernando. Something that we're entirely unsurprised to see from him.
Looks like Fernando was trying to shake his hand there a bit, but managed to get the disc there first, which is what counts.
Fernando, really involved in the Christchurch scene. He's been a linchpin, a pivot point for the entire community. And also hailing from Wellington, though, so initially he's played quite a bit with Wellington. So I'm trying to shake the hand of players that he's formerly played with as well.
And so we're seeing the big roster on your screen at the moment. Terry, Staley, Halbin, Moore, Whitlock, Booth, Joel, Sheridan, Keddy, Reisner, Parsons, Panaya, Titov, Smith, Clark, Van Bergen, Golby, Lynch, O'Connor, Dinsdale, and Aston. Some great players. We've seen a lot from them on the streams thus far. We're going to see a lot more as we send out their defensive line. It's going to be Staley, Clark, Whitlock, Joel, Aston, and Booth. Pull going nice deep into the back corner of the end zone. A perfect shot there, but Taylor Nartz can break free.
Taylor Nartz was expecting it to roll out of bounds or go out the side. He saw it to the ground, which actually gave defense an opportunity to push deeper. The hammer goes up, clearing out of the space. Much needed, breaking out. McIntosh back to Taylor Nartz, looking for the huck and reeling it in.
The no pivot dad backhand to McIntosh, on to a fleeting McGuinness.
Nauman with the assist. And such a great, there was such a dangerous space to be in the back of their own end zone down there. And that hammer just cracked everything open. It was the key to unlock the rest of the field. I really enjoyed the beautiful flowing movement. We'll see that catch. And then from there on, basically, just the throws, boom, boom, and Big struggling to retain position to shut things down on defense.
Now, Kelsey, you've had some somewhat disparaging opinions about hammers throughout the course of the tournament. What do you think about that one?
Oh, that was epic. That was a gorgeous decision, a wide open corner of the field. There were two potential recipients. I think it was a really needed move. It went over the top of all the defenders. That's a situation where, especially in the third place match, that's exactly when you want to be throwing hammers. Really well done.
Great assist there. And now we're going to see the Credo lineup here. Macaulay, Scott, Bowen, Tiang, Fraser, Clark, Lowe, Taylor Nartz, Douglas, McGuinness, Legrell, Nauman, Farr, Milne, Wong, McIntosh, Lewis, Mance, Fernando, McKenzie, Douglas, Besseling, and Lee. Keep those numbers in mind, team. They may be your bronze medal finalists in only 15 or so points, depending on how this game unfolds. We're going to see Panaya
Blair and I's definitely
bounce.
Keeping all of those names at the forefronts of our minds, as both teams have so much depth to them, so much experience that's carried them this far, but also so many highlights from so many of the players. Fighting to retain possession, a lot of physicality around the mark right now. Titov Smith with a disc, shifting to the open side of the field, finding Keddy.
12 on 12. Great bid by McIntosh, but it's not going to be enough. Halbin with a one-hand reach.
Could have been a backhand. I loved that inside option, though. Just such beautiful execution on a tricky throw. Massive separation.
Great throw through to O'Connor, and I think just little details that players who are just starting to learn Ultimate might not pick up on. The way Halbin didn't look downfield. So he knew that downfield was where he wanted to put the disc, but the fact is he engaged with his mark. We might get a chance to see that again.
I also just want to point out this pass, and Titov Smith could have launched it back, just cutting to the catch again, the assist, Halbin.
So Halbin engaging with the mark, keeping his mark in front of him. What that means is that not only does the mark now have to respect the around throw a little bit more if Halbin wanted to use the width of the field, but because of that and forcing that around to be shut down, it opened up a really nice channel for that quick no pivot backhand for the score. So great masterclass there, and I think a lot of high-level players either do this subconsciously or they've developed and drilled their ability to do it, that need to turn and engage, square off and go chest to chest with the person marking you, while keeping your head and your awareness as wide and as expansive as possible.
Also, shout out to the pass that came to Halbin. I love Titov Smith's release on that inside, slightly inside out. It was a flat forehand that just went straight beautifully down the sideline for such an easy catch. It's actually, a lot of people would throw a backhand in that situation, and I think the forehand just shows Titov Smith's depth in his throwing ability. A great point. Reisner with the disc, and Big will be coming out on defense.
Reisner with the disc, who also one of, I believe, possibly the only player in the country to have won a gold medal in each of the three divisions, mixed, women's, and opens, playing for Wildcats earlier on this year, managing to conclude the final with a bookend point, getting a great block, and then converting that to a hold. Bryn Douglas, though, with the disc now as Theo Moore closes down, resets to Mance. Goes around to Tiang. Finds far sideline as Becca Booth closes in, shading that disc back towards center field. Tiang with a big rip, looking for Clark over Whitlock. Gonna get it.
You know, a lot of people might see that throw and say that it faded a little bit. She could have put more power on it, but I think that was perfect execution from Tiang. It went downfield, and it actually faded onto the break side. And while Clark did have to read it, he had to put his head on a swivel to see where that disc was going and see it into his hands. It actually made it a much safer catch for him, and the defense has had no bid on it.
I didn't know that Netherland Tiang had telekinetic powers, actually. She put that throw up, and then I think realizing, oh, wait, no, Nick Whitlock's there on that near sideline. What if I just use my powers to push that disc towards the far sideline and just make my Tony's job downfield a little bit easier? Whatever she did, whether or not it was touch on the disc or after touch from the mine, manages to put one on the board. What a fantastic assist there for Credo to tie up the game.
Absolutely. Definitely, I think one of the reasons she's such a strong handler, not just on Credo, but also on the national stage and internationally, having represented the country as well. Overseas, telekinesis, an incredible skill to have as a handler or any player on the field.
And it's not just telekinesis that we're going to see on display. We're going to see a lot of clairvoyancy, some ESP, hopefully getting on ESPN if we're lucky. Just that ability to read, that ability to make predictions. We're going to see some huge defensive plays from both of these teams that are borderline supernatural, that are borderline psychic. Almost impossible for an ordinary person to make, but we're going to see them over the course of this match as Ryan Sheridan picks up the disc.
Tiang launching the disc. She's following up that gorgeous deep huck with a pull. This stack is a little bit messy as we're seeing it set up, and there's a call on the field.
I think Fernando has come back to the field, but he was definitely limping as he rose up in front of Panaya. It's going to be Terry with the disc marked by Mance. The disc is in play. It's live. We're seeing O'Connor on a great cut. Big rip looking for Lynch. Halbert in pursuit.
Good comms. I think that was going to Lynch, but really great comms call. Haubin is such safe hands, as is Lynch in the downfield space, but she sees him out of the corner of her eye, sees that, you know, he's just got a meter just behind her as the disc has the potential for being a harder catch for her. She passes it on to him to do the honors.
And again, just an absolute beautiful little duck to let her teammate score the disc. Now, a disc is a circle that can't be shared, but thanks to one of our sponsors, Hell Pizza, you can go and get a disc that can be shared. You and a couple of friends can have a couple of delicious slices. Huge thanks to them for the consideration that they were able to provide, keeping our volunteers and players fed during the course of the tournament.
And again, where Lynch could have, she would have had to take to the skies just a slightly more difficult catch jumping up, whereas Haubin saw it into the breadbasket, body behind it, much harder to drop a disc there. And, you know, 1 point, regardless of the stats, anyone from your team scoring a point is a point for the entire team. So well done to Big for recognizing that, putting another one on the board.
Up by 1. 3-2 in the bronze medal match. We're going to see Whitlock to take the disc and initiate the pull, supported by Staley, Booth, Sheridan, Van Bergen, Parsons, and Clark.
You know, this is what I love to see, Blair. One thing that makes me really happy as a commentator is when I call something and it happens exactly. And we called that this is going to be a close match, neck and neck, and the score is reflecting that perfectly, 3-2.
I couldn't agree more. There it is, a big shot up for McIntosh. Macaulay Scott was available as an option. It's going to be Clark. No. Lewis with a big hammer crossfield. Just touches down outside of McGuinness's reach. Is going to give the disc back to Big and an opportunity for a break here. Like I often say when I'm given the task of mentoring new commentators, Kelsey, none of whom can hold a candle to you, of course. I always say, look, the two best and most interesting things that can happen from a commentator's perspective is you say something and it happens, in which case you look incredibly wise and knowledgeable, or you say something and the exact opposite happens and people realize just how chaotic and impactful a single play, a single decision made on the ultimate field can be.
Absolutely. And it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be one of the two, isn't it? A hammer goes up.
You're either right or you're wrong.
You're right or you're wrong. A difficult throw when a downfield deep like Whitlock is in the space. He's looking deep to try to catch one. The hook goes up. Clark seeing him. Such an offensive threat. He takes to the skies.
Ooh.
Sandwiched between two players. Is that a call? It looks like it is.
Absolutely is going to be a call. I was going to say it, and they need at least two defenders to shut down Whitlock when he hits his stride.
And players like Nauman and McIntosh, both sky patrollers for Credo, you know, they've got the land covered, and it's the Air Force, the whole Air Force for the team as they take off. And
I was going to say, with the amount of time they've spent in the air, they've probably logged their hours for at least a glider's license, surely.
Yeah, supported also by the Eagle Scout himself, the Eagle of the Skies. Sam Lennart's another threat in the air as he's got the disc right now. Sorry, Teo Lennart's.
Works back with McIntosh. Another hammer. You love to see them, but again, is it overthrown? No, not quite. It's Lewis inbounds
but
as Van Bergen closes.
There were no defenders around him, giving him space to see it into his hands to make that safe catch. A lot of over-the-top throws from side to side.
Oh, what a steal by Parsons.
Parsons, such vision. Great defense.
But the disc knows, and it bobbles out of the hands of Joe Panaya. We are seeing a aggressive zone defense here by Big. And even though Kat Terlinart managed to get the disc, she's still going to call a foul as it constitutes a potential dangerous play, which I think is something that's really, really important to be mindful of in a mixed sport, especially when you've got players who, despite their explosiveness, despite the way they play, they are of a slightly smaller stature. And that can be a really, really intimidating thing.
Props to, or really great to see Joe Panay recognizing that and, giving her the pat on the back. Unintentional, aim to be safer, definitely, on his part. Violation called on the field, indicating that just, I think here, that either players were out of position or weren't ready for the throw to go up. So they're just checking in. Looks like the disc will stay with McGinnis will be returning the disc to Taylor Lennart's. So again, everyone needs to be on the same page. They need to be aware that the stall is starting. Yeah, and the disc can't be live or thrown before the stall starts, so just making sure that everyone's ready. It's a problem we've seen across the national championships this weekend.
Lewis again near sideline calling for the shot. It's a bit of an angly backhand, but Lewis is getting it. Wants to put the rip. Staley shuts down the lane. And
Macaulay Scott was open in that deep space, but with Whitlock so close, definitely a threatening put.
We're seeing again, hey, big calls as they look to fire crossfield. Taylor Lennart's decides not to put the big shot up. Safe resets with wife Kat Taylor Lennart's. There's a big shot. Nauman losing yards to get it. But he's on that far sideline. He's got the big left-handed hammer.
Beautiful.
For a Lewis just in bounds to tie the game. Credo, 3, big 3.
Credo dropping hammers like they're dropping bombs with the Sky Patrollers. They're dropping a lot right now, anything but the disc. Yeah, they're playing some incredible ultimate, and I'm a huge fan of seeing these massive throws coming out. What a great read by Parsons there on defense. But again, a big around. Lennart's showing he's a fan of those outside and backhands coming in Blady. But this is what's going to happen when Big is running a zone. They're playing a bit poachy. It's not super windy or rainy. As you can see, the sun is out. It's shining. It's a beautiful day for ultimate. And with strong throwers on Credo, they're going to capitalize on those open options. If there's a player cross field and they can get a hammer to them without the wind, safe options, they're going to be doing it.
Yeah, so just again, when we see Big, and we talk about Big throwing down a zone defense, we're using that in contrast to what we would call a match defense. Old hands or old heads of ultimate would call it a man defense. However, it's a mixed sport team. It's match defense, looking to isolate those individual one-on-one matchups. In contrast to that, we've seen a zone from Big where we're sacrificing those individual matchups to allow players to exert their sphere of influence over the play, over the field, and tending to try and crowd the disc as much as possible in order to shut down bigger options, figuring out what the threat is and looking to respond to it ahead of time.
Just some quick commentary on Titov Smith's body positioning. As he saw the throw come down, the pull come down there, he was backpedaling. Massive bit on defense, giving Hoban options.
Hoban, big shot. Who's going to get it? Is it Parsons?
I'm a big fan of that look, but I wonder who that was to.
I think maybe not really communicating where that throw is going to end up. It's going to be Keddy versus Taylor Lennart's with a rip of his own, looking for McIntosh in the deep space. Halbin closing, not going to get it.
Oh, incredible take.
Halbin, looks like that contact definitely had an impact on McIntosh's ability to hold on to the disc. And so we're just figuring out where players going to resume from. I think that you would be hard-pressed to argue against that foul. And so we're just figuring out when the disc is coming in and where. Yep, a foul accepted. We're seeing the hand signals from the team. That's great communication there.
McIntosh
Disc is in.
So Credo now setting up in, he's called a timeout. A valuable move when the score is tied up like this.
Not just when the score is tied up, but when you have such a crucial opportunity to get ahead in the game. Right on the end zone, because that was a big shot from Taylor Nartz to McIntosh. He pulled it down, and where he pulled it down, relative to where the rest of his team was, he was so far ahead that Halbin's in a position to start counting down those seconds, that 10-second shot clock or stall count, as we call it in Ultimate. He's eating up that time waiting for those other downfielders to catch up. We saw Bessling making a great cut into that space, Lee as well. But that's all time. They're looking to gain yards, establish position, and then make their moves. And when you've only got 10 seconds to relinquish control of the disc before it generates an automatic turnover, it's probably advantageous to call a timeout in a situation like this, just as we saw McIntosh do. It's going to allow the teams to establish their offensive structure before the play begins again. So we'll see, once they break that timeout, Credo are going to set up an offense. Then the big defense will be allowed to respond. Then play will begin.
Interestingly, this offers big an opportunity to switch up their defense. If you've come out in zone and you've just taken the person closest to you to cover, maybe there might be a bit of a mismatch. Or if you're covering someone and you realize they might be looking for an option that someone else on your team or you're better suited to match up, Big has the opportunity now to look at the players on the field, consider who the threats are and how they can best shut that down, so whether that's match defenses we're seeing or maybe a slight poach.
So what are we seeing in terms of their offensive structure here, Kelsey?
We're seeing Credo setting up in a vertical stack downfield. Taylor Nartz is back with McIntosh. I am expecting, honestly, handler movement. Cut from the front of the stack, well covered. Can McIntosh find the break space? Oh, a push pass to Nauman.
Campbell Nauman.
Honestly, well defended, though. I think Big did a great job of shutting things down. That cut from the front of the stack, that was what Credo had called how they expected to score, was shut down initially because there were two people covering that open side. Let's see it one more time. Such a clogged space. So really well done to Nauman for finding that.
That's what we call an indoor cut. So for those who don't know, not only do we have a beautiful, expansive, enormous, gigantic field for these teams to be playing on.
Would you call it a big field, Blair?
No, I definitely wouldn't, because at the moment, Credo up by 1. It's a Credo field. It's still anyone's game. But just to back off that, in addition to a lot of outdoor, we also see Ultimate played on the beach. We also see a lot of Ultimate played indoors. People will set up cones on something like a basketball court. And that's really sort of tight and compact, and you see a lot of jinky little cuts, just like Campbell Nauman did. Slipping past, getting a shoulder around the defender to drop that back toe in the zone for a score. Absolute textbook execution there. Really fantastic to see.
Credo pulls away. Now, could this be pulling away for the half? Is this it for them, or can Big come out firing and regain those few points that they need?
Dadelin Tiang with the pull. Nice and high with a lot of float. It's going to touchdown, picked up by Penaya. Titoff Smith there in support. Wong aggressive on the defense, and unmarked Parsons before.
Yeah, great cut from Parsons. Finding that open space, so much separation. Penaya faking that under. Finding Haubin with the swing. Great movement across the field with the width, finding Titoff Smith. A lot of patience. Titoff Smith seeing Haubin streaking deep, wants to launch it. Really deep stack right now. Looks like the players are really keen for those deep hucks.
Great cut by Parsons there to open the field up. We've seen Terry underutilized on the near sideline. She could get separation from Legrell. In fact, we can see that she's being given a lot of separation by Legrell.
I would like to see Big. Parsons has been dominating this underspace. We've seen Lynch as well, but it's really stagnant. Most players seem to be waiting for those deep options. There we go, Haubin with a much-needed undercut. All this space, great to see them utilizing it. Penaya
calling for a disc player to come back underneath Titoff Smith.
We know they dominate the deep space, but if Credo's taking that away, they need to be recognizing that and utilizing those unders. Again, Parsons running this underspace, doing a great job. Haubin recognizing as well. They're knocking on the door.
Now, a great score by Big to tie the game. However, I think it's important to highlight that this is the New Zealand mixed Ultimate Championships. Of the 7 players on the field, 4 big just there. 4 of them were female Magic players, 3 of whom didn't get a single touch on the disc. They were definitely working hard. They were cutting open, really testing the downfield defense, which is a thankless job, and they did it incredibly well. But there were probably a lot more opportunities there that the male matching players could have taken, could have used the width, could have really stretched the defense in more of a lateral sense as opposed to a deep sense. Titoff Smith for the score. Great work, but I want to see which team uses all of their players to a greater extent, because when all of the players are at this higher level, it's the ones that are being utilized better, that are being given the disc, given opportunities to make plays. That's when we're going to see which team rises up and takes the win.
Absolutely, Blair. And that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? It's which team makes the fewer mistakes. That's the team that's going to take the game. Credo indicating that they're ready. Reisner with the pull. She hasn't been, just in that point, as an example, wasn't quite as involved, giving her other teammates an opportunity to play more. I would like to see her touch the disc a bit more, though, whether that's teammates throwing to her or more options becoming available. We've got Clark with the disc. Back to Douglas. Tiang, what a strong handling line for Credo.
That is something that I think Credo are doing really well. I've got Tiang, Mance, and Taylor Nartz, who are doing a huge amount of work in that handler space for them. Bryn Douglas, a fantastic handler in his own right, taking a step back, providing that support and letting them drive the offense. Really, really good to see. Clark getting involved as well. A little bit of a miscommunication there, a slight misthrow. We're hearing the call turtle from Big. Not exactly sure what that means. Maybe it means just slow it down.
End zone play is what I would guess, actually. The call for maybe an ambulance or ambulance, I think is the common term, a cut from the front of the stack. And really well drilled. Okay, we saw Clark run out, make that cut to the break side. He cycled back into the stack, followed by that second one coming out, and I think that's exactly what they were calling. Well drilled, well executed.
It's going to be Theo Moore to put that point on the board there for Big, bringing it back to a tied game in the bronze final.
Yeah, really great discipline. And that's what an end zone is. An end zone provides a set play in order to convert into a point. So commonly we see that white line fever excitement when you're about to put it in and a misfire, miscommunication, just not the best decision making, resulting in a turnover. And there, that end zone and the players just sticking to what they've practiced, ensuring that it's a point. So we've got the swing here and yeah, just a misclap. If Credo keeps doing that, we see Big is more than capable of responding and converting and capitalizing on those mistakes, turning them into points. I love that celebration between two big players while Whitlock is waiting to be part of it as well. He's waiting for the high five, getting them from the other team.
A high five's a high five, folks. We're going to see a huge pull coming up from Big to be fielded early by Sam Taylor-Nartz, working with Kat Taylor-Nartz on marked by Whitlock, of all people, using those huge limbs to really initiate that zone defense. Long shot up to the near far sideline there. It's going to be McIntosh. Looks back, working with Lewis, Taylor-Nartz, and Taylor-Nartz. The zone looking to slow down a little bit. We've seen some switches on that defense. Jackson Joe allows it to come near side. Teatify McGuinness back around to Taylor-Nartz there. Pushing wide to Lewis. Is he going to drop another hammer? Is he going to be able to get past Wallock?
What great movement right now. We're seeing boom, boom. Credo finding those open players, finding each other. A push pass over the top.
What on earth was that? Oh, my goodness. He really is a walking Swiss Army knife of throws, that Taylor-Nartz. Probably why he fit in so well in the Boy Scouts. It's McIntosh going back to Taylor-Nartz. McGuinness on a great upline cut. It comes around to McIntosh. Who's there for it? A quick one step for an open Taylor-Nartz and the score. He's got tweezers. He's got a knife. He's got a wrench. He's got a bottle opener. He's got a point on the board for Credo to bring it 5-5 all. What a game so far.
You know, I'm loving Big at the moment. I'm loving the defense, the quick movement, the offense they're playing, really trying to shut things down on defense, but I can't get over the throws, the creativity that Credo's putting up. I'm getting so stoked on that. The push passes, as you're saying, a Swiss Army knife of options. The hammers they're throwing are so exciting. Deep options, quick swings. Taylor Arts here, her strong breaks, looking the upline, and just the pop backhand around. Such a pleasure to see all of this creativity coming out on the field, firing when the team wants to fire it, when they need to fire it, and that's here in this third place match.
We are back after the break of that timeout, after that fantastic score there by Credo to tie the game. 31 minutes into our 90-minute soft cap, 5 points apiece in our race to 15. We're going to see Big come out on offense. Some great powerhouses for the big side. Kitty, Penaya, O'Connor, Parsons one more time, Sheridan, Lynch, and Halbin.
You know, Blair, we're seeing such strong offense from both teams. It's really exciting. So much creativity, I think, from Big, fast, quick movement between the handlers, finding those downfield cutters. I'd like to see them use that middle space a little bit more. They seem to be waiting for the firing options. And then meanwhile, Credo with the creativity with the throws. Gorgeous to see the quick movements as well. But right now, as I've mentioned, similar attributes to both teams and their offensive lines. It's the defensive lines that really need to step up right now, putting more breaks on the field, because that's how this game is going to be won.
Borderline catch on that pull there. He looks like he had it just above turf. Now, if he'd caught it simultaneously with contact, that may have constituted an attempt at a catch that was dropped. Could have generated a turnover, but it's going to continue playing as Sheridan works with Penaya, a very deep vertical stack. So we're looking to create that space for them to get moving. Ketty trying to get involved as well. They're losing yards as the Credo defense applies pressure. Penaya on the far sideline, marked by Lee.
I think that this is a really great move from Big right now. They were struggling with those undercuts, and so they simply switched the offense. It's a vertical stack. Great to see them have recognized that. A great read.
Nauman with the intercept over Halbin. He's being given a left forehand there, but he's not going to use it. Yes, he is. Puts one up to Taylor Nards as Sheridan looks to close. He's stopping the round, but it's not going to stop a nice floaty pass despite a bid from Ketty as Lewis fires to Nauman on the near sideline. Halbin in hot pursuit. What's going to develop in the downfield space? We see Lewis. He manages a one-step, two-step, shakes free. Great layout, but it's not gonna get there.
I think Getty might need to invest in some ankle insurance with some jukes like that. Lewis was hot back and forth, and with that momentum managed to spring into the open space. Unfortunately couldn't spring long enough to reel in that point.
I think we need to get Jack Lewis in front of the Human Rights Commission to be investigated for trafficking, because he sold Ketty on that last play.
O'Connor with the undercut. Oh, beautiful movement right now. Sheridan
now, far sideline marked by Nauman. Sheridan available as a reset. He's trying to step. He's going to get there. It's Lewis in defense. Goes wide. Great stretch there by Nauman. It's not going to be enough. Halbin going up for Penaya. Can Taylor Nards get there? No, not quite. That is.
Oh. And so we saw again, I love to see this. Previously, Penaya ran through Taylor Nards when she was on offense, and there was a bit of contact initiated. And you know, while that is dangerous, we don't want to see that. So great to see nonetheless. The sportsmanship, she says, help me up then. You know, I gave you that point, so then, you know, help me up off the ground. Just really great connections on the field. Previous teammates as well, Penaya and Taylor Nards, and nice to see on display on the field. Just those friendly connections. Great point to Penaya, though, as well. While Taylor Nards did stumble, he kept it safe, and everyone's, you know, walking back to the line. No injuries, which is what we want to maintain. We've got Big now lining up on defense. As I mentioned, the score now 5-6, Big in the lead. it's defense that's going to make this game for either of the teams. Reisner's describing what she wants to see. We'll see. Big has thrown a few different options. I've been a huge fan of the person defense that they've been throwing. I think that's been strongest, but I have really appreciated the zone offense from Credo. They've been coming out with the most creative throws. Again, those hammers, push passes from across the team. We'll see what they decide. I think match defense would be a strong decision. Reisner launches the disc downfield as Credo is off to the races.
It's Tiang to field, supported by Douglas and Clark. Clark getting the disc near, now marked by Whitlock, pushing back towards the center field, cutting in front of the disc there to get a quick gainer.
And again, the creativity of those throws. There's a travel call.
A scuba over the top to find Mackenzie.
This is exactly what I want to see, Blair. You know, if Big's going to come down in the zone, I'm stoked to see Credo continuing to throw these creative throws. A travel on the throw there, but nonetheless great execution and wide open players to be receiving another over the top.
It's Douglas trying to use a big fake. The disc is his baton as he conducts his orchestra of pain against Big. Really trying to get things to shift. Douglas one more time. Around to Clark, who's marked by Reisner, finds a chip shot through to Mackenzie, but another travel is going to be called.
Did look like Clark, he's so quick off the throw. To me, it did look like he dragged his foot a little bit as he was taking a step to explode off of it. Really such a formidable thrower, not just in his throws, but also, again, in his ability to explode off the mark. But you have to watch that as a handler to ensure that you're not traveling.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've seen a lot from the tournament from these really great stable handlers, they might not be necessarily making huge plays. Oh, great bid by Clark.
Maybe it looks like the disc is tacoed. What is tacoed, Blair?
Well, aside from a delicious Latin American food from, not Latin American, really, Mexico, isn't it? Central American foodstuffs. The disc is made of plastic and it is subject to impact. It's one of the reasons why I have such a strong opinion about those spikes that we saw in our semi-final match. When you bend a disc, it impacts the flight. It needs to be relatively flight in order for that gyroscopic stability to allow you to send up some of the hucks that we're seeing from these teams. And so it's just a quick check to make sure that it's not deformed and they can continue to play with it. It's Goldby underneath with Clark, who's got the read. Ooh. Touchdown by Clark.
And Dinsdale was in position. Great to see, people all good from that. We like to say conserve the disc on offense, conserve the greatness, but also in general just conserve the disc. The disc is valuable and we don't like to break them. So yeah, it's supposed to fly in the air, it's supposed to be caught safely, and it's good to check in to see if it's flying right. Turns out it is, so the play is continuing. Clark now with the disc on offense.
Goes to wide, finds Mance. It's going to be working with Lewis, Mance, Clark. As we see that kind of zone defense again, it's Goldby up front. Whitlock, eyes open, he's eyes peeled. He's looking for an opportunity to get involved, get stuck in, marking Tiang now. Those long arms shutting down that around to Douglas. It goes back to the far sideline looking for Mance. Chips one over the top. Reisner tries to make a play, but Tiang's going to be the one who gets it. It's chipped back to Clark.
And I understand why Big is throwing this zone. They've got so many large players on their team. Whitlock with a massive wingspan. We've got Reisner around the disc. And it's difficult to make throws when you have such big wingspans of the people who are around you. That said, we're seeing so much creativity from Credo with the throws. Great movements, especially when they chip through the zone, as they're starting to do now.
Mance with a great crossfield hammer, touched by Mackenzie. He's not going to be able to secure it. It's going to give the disc back to Big, which is just what they need. An opportunity with Titov Smith. Goes around to Whitlock, marked by Douglas, quickly getting in position, but the upline is allowed. It's a great shot, and we're seeing a call made in the stack, a possible injury.
Oh, with an injury, that's right. McGinnis limping a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a step on the foot there, or she may have just twisted her ankle. Good to see her walking off the field. Hope she'll be able to shake it off with a sip of water, potentially a sip of pure hydration, helping to prevent cramping, keep athletes in tip-top shape, especially through the end of this long, grueling tournament with the sun out. Players pushing everything. This is the last game that these teams will be playing of the tournament, so leaving everything on the field.
So there's just a little bit of communication on field as teams figure out exactly where play needs to return to, considering that the injury has generated that stoppage.
Also, we've seen quite a few violations, so teams players ensuring that they're in the right position. When the disc was stopped, when the call was made, that they're in the right position, that they know when the call is coming in, and great comms. Unfortunately, it looks like there's a violation. I was hoping that would be prevented. So now again, players need to find out where they just were a second ago, ensuring that they know when the disc is coming in, what the stall is at. Yeah. And good to see that player's gone off without an issue. Reisner swinging the disc, a smart centering pass to Titoff Smith.
Nice little inside slip pass, Staley.
Yeah, backed up by Terry, and I love that. Staley, I think she could have reeled that in, but recognizing the positioning. We saw that before, I think, with Lynch and Haubin, where Lynch saw she could have taken it sooner, but knowing that there was a safer backup option where Haubin could have taken it in the breadbasket. So the beautiful Titoff Smith's classic inside-out forehand. Staley, again, could have caught it, but just lets it go, and Terry easily making that safe breadbasket catch.
Now, just a special little shout out to Euphoria's Keshav Chandran, who actually has been wanting to run a play exactly like that for at least the last 2 years. A nice fake dummy cut, so a great cut across the front of the zone. The player just in preparation to catch it, leaves their hands apart to let it slip through. Inadvertent or otherwise, hopefully he's taking notes on how a team like Big would execute something like that, as Big are up by 2. It's a game to 15. Halftime is going to be at 8 points. One more score from Big is going to take them to half. Or Credo, 2 points down at the moment. We've seen them in this exact position before.
And in that semifinal match against Marvelous DC, against Kudos, thank you. Yeah, Credo rose to the challenge and really gave them a run for their money. They were racking points on the board, taking the breaks to come back.
And speaking of Reisner, it's Reisner with the pull. Speaking of Rise, I should have said, that's all right. Great touch early. Douglas to pick up and start things off. Marked by Clark. Threads through the zone. Finds McKenzie. Looking for Clark.
Needs to make up the ground.
He's got him.
I love that, Blair. Clark paused. He didn't think the hug was coming. He paused. It went up, and he needed to boost to make it into that end zone. He needed to make up those critical yards, and he did it easily. What an athlete.
What a beautiful shot. A little more got him, a little less D's nuts.
One more time.
Great inside flick there
and Clark
to McKenzie.
Pauses there. It's even a juke how he thought he would come under and easily makes up those yards to score the point.
What a put, what a grab. McKenzie just putting it out there.
Clark is such a formidable player. Really, obviously so much depth on Credo, but he's doing such a great job. We see him in the handler space, and it's always exciting to see those handlers scoring the points as well. So often they are assisting and racking up points in different ways with touches on the disc. But here, I mean, Clark has been taking to the skies on defense, on offense, and scoring points like this. It's so great to see the diversity. I know about McGinnis. She handles, she cuts. Everyone on this team is so diverse. You know, they're not role players in the specific roles that they do well. They're so dynamic, which I think lends a lot of strength to Credo as a team.
Nauman to initiate the defense. Credo hoping for a break here to bring it back to 7-7. It's going to be Panaya under the disc, and we're seeing an offside called yet again.
As he sees it down to the disc.
Those offside calls, they're coming a lot more frequently than we've ever seen them before. It could be impacted by the presence of an advisor who is watching the defensive line with eagle eyes. Speaking of eagle eyes and eagle scouts, we're seeing Sam Taylor-Nartz in the middle of that zone, but it's not enough to stop Titoff Smith and Whitlock with a big fake to get a bite out of Bell. Fraser finds Parsons one more time. Jack Keddy turning to catch that in motion. It's Parsons again.
It's an interesting decision by Credo to come down in his zone like that. Fraser is such a formidable mark. She's got such a big wingspan. She's so strong on the mark. But at the same time, while Big have been doing this to Credo, I think Big can respond easily and like kind. There's so much creativity on the handlers. Whitlock with such a big step out of his own. Exciting to see how they're responding to this zone.
I think what we're seeing as well is it's a 2-3-2 zone as well. So those two players up the front, Lee and Fraser, really focusing, trying to force the disc towards the middle of the field for players like Taylor and Arts to eat up. Campbell Nauman patrolling the deep space in conjunction with Theo McIntosh. We're seeing and feeling the wind pick up just a little bit. I think that might have informed the decision for Credo to come down with the zone.
And it's really slowing down the offense.
And that is exactly what the zone is trying to do. It's trying to force those more tricky shots. Compensating for the wind, it came in a little bit low. It's going to give the disc to Taylor Nartz, finding the husband Sam. Taylor Nartz marked by Titov Smith, allowing him to have that backhand option. Comes
Again,
to Fraser, chips back to Taylor Nartz.
I think it was a great decision by Joe Panaya to fire that inside out, but just a higher risk option, leading Credo to have this opportunity to score the point. We've got Taylor Nartz finding Taylor Nartz.
Go around in a tip. Tyler Titov Smith, what a great play.
Yeah, but a pick is called. What a great play by Titov Smith. Gives us an extra opportunity one more time just to appreciate reading where the disc is going to be, and great job from Fraser to clean that up.
Yeah, I think what had happened is Lynch was calling a pick there, that the separation Fraser had to make such a clean recovery on that great bid by Titov Smith only occurred because Rebecca Lynch trying to remind herself that Ultimate's a non-contact sport, not picking a line that's going to take her through a player or allow her to generate contact.
A lot of separation on that undercut. Anyway, Lenartz goes for the safe reset. A lot of movements among handlers right now. It seems like the stack is a bit farther, waiting for a potential deep look.
Nice swipes by Whitlock, but it's not going to be enough. He's closed down by Whitlock on that attempt, though. The aggressive defense from O'Connor is too much. It's Belle Fraser. She's going to put one out. Beautiful. Bringing it back to a tied game. Adele Bessling with the score.
Wow. What a break. Credo needed that. Such great movement. Interesting to see a lot of patience in the back of the stack, and I think that was intentional, leaving the handlers to move it and have that space, have that time to move the disc within themselves. They were doing such a good job of it, but you see there's a lot of stagnancy in the back. Maybe they were in their end zone formation. Regardless, handlers doing such a great job of finding the open players and putting it into a point.
Continuation cut off that. Adele Bessling, we spoke to her before the game just to double check the pronunciation of her surname. She said, oh, it doesn't really matter. My parents are here watching. They're not going to be hearing it on the live stream. Well, kid, after a score like that, it's the world who is watching, so we want to make sure we get that one right. Adele Bessling, number 88 for Credo. What a score to bring us to Galaxy Point.
Galaxy Point, that is. The next point is going to take half. Such a power move, such an important way to carry a team into halftime and then come out firing into the second half. Whose half will it be? We're about to find out.
And so teams probably fielding their strongest lines. There's a huge advantage in terms of momentum and build that comes from taking half. If you started the game on offense, you're starting the second half on defense. If you can be up when you're starting on defense, it's always a bonus. The flip side of that is if you started on defense, you're going to start the second half on offense. It's an opportunity for you. What a great touch. We're seeing yet another offside call.
That's tragic. You know, it really holds back. It's a bit disrespectful almost to a pull of that caliber, a pull that's on the sideline so deep in the end zone. When your team is crossing the line early and you get to brick it, it's a bit disrespectful to such an incredible pull.
Would you take a knife to the Mona Lisa? I wouldn't. And sometimes from the sideline, it feels a little bit like a pull as artful as that. An offside does feel a little disrespectful, as you say, but some great disc movement early. It's going to be Whitlock up the sideline to find O'Connor as McGinnis closes. Puts a big shot up. It comes a lot higher than she was expecting. Who's got the read? Nauman gets up and touches it, but Halbin is going to call contact.
It's a classic O'Connor huck. She's so good at those around backhands, those cross fields, but again, it comes out relatively high, leading to so many hands under the disc. Was there contact drawn there?
Now, as we get to see that again, Nauman had great height, and I think maybe just overdid it a little bit. If he just touched the disc gently, I know he's looking to try and add that commitment, really drive it down to the ground.
Another question to ask, if there was contact, which is always valid to call an ultimate, did it impact the play? Because those are separate outcomes based on what, when the contact was drawn and what the outcome could be.
So we are going to see what happens here.
I think it's a retracted call. Great
That
spirit.
is a huge display of spirit from Big. I mean, it's anybody's game. This game is tied. We're about to take half.
Awesome high release backhand from Taylor Arts to Nauman. Back to Taylor Arts.
To have the presence of mind to retract that call, not only is it a great display of sportsmanship, but it's also a huge display of trust in your team to get it back.
Pick called on the field. We heard that from the sideline, great comms. But just a bit of a messy stack. A high five between Fraser and Whitlock, who may have been in the way. Yeah, quite a few bodies around each other, just leading to a bit of congestion. Clearing that up.
Taylor Arts coming in, finds Lewis. Goes around to Nauman, marked by Kitty. Big lefty hammer.
I don't know.
He's only gone and done it. It's Besseling again, back to take half.
What a safe catch. Blair, I don't know if the hammer was necessary there, but it's what everyone wanted to see. It could have been an outside-in, a flick. In Nauman's case as a lefty, a backhand going down the field, easy to run onto, but a hammer was an amazing way to close out that half.
Oh, Adele Besseling says hello from the other side of the first half. What a great way to conclude that point in the first half in the bronze medal match for the 2023 Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships at Bob Dean's Field in ULTI.TV, Christchurch, the Orthro-Tahi in ULTI.TV. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
And I'm still Kelsey Bielik.
Thank you, Coco Silva. We will be back with you for the conclusion of this exciting match very soon. Welcome back to the second half of this thrilling bronze final match between Credo from Canterbury and Big from Wellington. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
I'm still Kelsey Bielik.
What an exciting match we have, and as we were saying, the importance of taking half, we had Adele Bessling put that one away for Credo, and Big are coming out on defense, which means Credo have the opportunity here to make it a 2-point game.
Again, Blair, that was the most exciting when it comes to exciting closes to the first half. An epic hammer by now into Bessling in the end zone. We've got Big coming out on defense, giving Credo a chance, another offensive chance to put another one on the board right away. Can they do it? Pick called on the field. We've got relatively loose defense from Big here. Indicating we've seen that a little bit with handlers, especially marked quite loosely, giving them the ability to move the disc freely, and we've seen so much movement in the handler space. Credo really relying on their handlers as well as the deep looks, I think, to create the points.
Far trying to get a bite out of Dinsdale, has to laterally reset to Mance, getting Lynch out of the way to open up space for a centering pass to Tiang. Back to Mance, up the far sideline to McGuinness, marked by Staley.
Ooh, great pressure on defense there, forcing the disc out. It looks like there was a call, though.
Yeah, Douglas calling foul on Theo Moore. Yeah, as he slowed down, he let Moore take that inside line. So Moore's in a great position, but the question is, did he make that play without drawing contact? And that's going to be for the players to make a determination before we see what resumes in the first point of the second half of this exciting match.
Relatively deep stack from Credo. And Big too have been so successful off of the deep looks. I think that's what in the final we'll be seeing a marvelous DC showdown across both sides, across the North Island, with teams from Auckland and Wellington represented. But one thing that those teams have been doing really well is showing a great diversity and depth in how they score points. It seems like Credo's been really focusing on the handler movement, just keeping it within that handler space. So it's exciting to see them opening up a little bit more in the midfield, and I'd like to see more of that. We've got an uncontested foul on the field.
So Douglas for Credo is going to retain possession. We know he's a shooter. He's got a great cannon on that right arm. He's pinned down on the far sideline.
And the bomb squad
Shooting
comes out.
For far. Second attempt, not going to come down. Keddy in great position to box that one out and close it. It's going to give possession to the side from Wellington, who might want to answer
Great
with
safety.
A point to tie the game.
With those two defensive players, no contact drawn. Hustling to get open more with the continuation flick to Reisner. What movement! Whitlock in the power position, but holsters.
Huge bid by McKenzie, but Keddy's going to get it, and he's wide open now. We see a great defensive switch. Clark pulling off to cover that defense. It's Moore and Whitlock, 7 and 8, just like the scoreline. And yet another pick.
Indicating again just a bit of a messy stack structure. A lot of movement downfield as players are fighting to get open against that tight Credo defense, fighting to give Whitlock opportunities and options to score the point. The disc goes up, and Clark, Moore with the points.
Yeah.
And I want to just comment very quickly there that Big offense was exactly what I was just talking about, the movement in the underspace. Credo's been really sticking with the handlers a lot, but Big just moving the disc slowly down the field, boom, boom, continuations, beautiful undercuts before working it into the end zone.
And that great around backhand from 8-7 brings the score to 8-8. Sounds like I'm dialing off somebody's phone number. If somebody watching at home wants to give that a call and just see if anyone answers. But speaking of call and answer, Credo have come out firing in the first half. They took the half, and Big have answered with a point of their own, bringing it back to a tied game, 61 minutes into our 90-minute soft cap.
You know, 8 in Mandarin Chinese, it's a lucky number. 8, surely double luckiness. I know with Bessling wearing number 88, she's carrying I hesitate to call it luck because it's definitely skill into the end zone space. Will she have another chance in the end zone? It looks like she's walking off the field, but Credo as a whole team really looking to respond right now. What an exciting start to the second half. We've got 2 holds by offensive lines. As we saw in the first half with trading points, again, it's really the defense's game. Which defensive line can step up, throw a wrench in the well-oiled machine that is these offensive lines and cinch those breaks.
Yeah, so that's a great break from Big to open up the second half. Reisner with a great pull. It's got a lot of that inside edge touching down outside of bounds. We're going to see a brick signal by Natalie Tiang for Credo.
Of course, within Ultimate Frisbee, the offensive line is expected to score when you start off on offense, conserving the disc, respecting it. A turnover can be critical to your line. All the other team needs is a turn before they score the point. So maintaining that and respecting it, we're seeing that with these teams, and that's why I bring up again that the breaks are so important. The offensive lines have been off the bat scoring again and again, with Credo sneaking away with a few of those key breaks with strong defense. Big needs to respond now. Reisner with a big mark.
Whitlock too tight on Clark to allow that disc to push downfield. Fernando! Little tackle against McGuinness, but it looks like we're going to call a stoppage there. Some possible contact that may have interfered with Fernando's ability to receive the disc. I think, either way, great work there by O'Connor as well. When we see the second attempt to secure the disc, even though McGuinness made a bid and there was contact there, she recognized that O'Connor had it fair and square. So we're going to actually move back a possession, or a potential possession. Just the query between Fernando and Ketty as to what contact, or what impact the contact had on his ability to receive the disc.
Great to see Fernando kind of making those undercuts, though, opening up that space, and well recognized. I think beautiful execution from Mance with that inside-out shot, finding him. And of course, just farther downfield, I think it was McGuinness who was looking to clean it up. Let's see it one more time.
Yeah, it's McGuinness matched up against O'Connor. You can see O'Connor gets a shoulder in front, gets that touch. So even though there was contact on that cleanup attempt,
great defensive pressure, though, by Big. That's what they need. That's what I was just talking about. They're trying to keep that pressure on so they can generate the turnover and make this into a break for them.
Now, just getting to see that slow-mo again, even though we did see contact here, it was Ketty's right arm against Fernando's left. I don't know whether or not it actually had an impact. He went up with his right hand. There wasn't a lot of lateral movement from that collision. So we're going to see Big take possession. The turnover is going to stand. I think that was a really great call. Whitlock, just a bit of miscomms there on that throw, and it's going to turn into a throw away.
Oh!
Slips through the hands of Mance. Terry is there. He wants to throw the assist. Can she do it? She's going to reset back to find O'Connor. Quickly trying to get Whitlock engaged. It's Helena Terry again. Great leading pass there, but maybe a little bit much dip on the chip.
A bit too much dip on the chip. Yeah, Whitlock racing, ready to launch his body out into the air to reel it back in, but can't keep up with it. We've got another opportunity for Credo on offense. They've caught an entire field of yards, though. How are they going to make that up? Will it be their classic long shots? Or are they going to be looking under? Fernando looking again for another cut, completely open.
Where is his defense? Ketty slowly closing in, drops back to Tiang, and then joins her in the handler space, supported by Mance. McGuinness cutting in, marked by O'Connor.
Marked undercuts everywhere on the field. We're seeing a lot of pressure from Big.
It's
now they're
far on a great upline, taking lots of yards, snatched by Whitlock in the attempt to continue. Through to McGuinness. He puts a big shot up looking for Reisner. She's got the legs. She's got the disc. She's got the score.
And I was saying this just at halftime, Blair. Unfortunately, the audio was off. I said, I really want to see Reisner in the deep space. She's, as you just said, she's got the legs. She's got the arms, those safe hands to reel it in. And I'm so stoked to see Big looking at that option. Reisner making that look. And Whitlock throwing such a dime of a throw. A dime that I'd like to take out to dinner and treat right. But Reisner reeling it in. It's her disc. It's her points.
Oh my goodness, a throw so pretty it's getting harassed by men on Reddit. Reisner manages to pull that one down. A second break in the second half. This is the big that we've kind of expected to see all tournament, really firing up, not allowing their dominant position to be challenged so easily. Great work by Credo to take the first half, but so far we've had 2 unanswered breaks in the second half. Reisner securing that one to put Big up by 2. Oh, by 1, sorry, I think 9-8.
One thing I wanted to comment on, so Credo came out on offense, as Blair just mentioned. That was a break for Big. Critically, they needed that. But one thing I really enjoyed was Richard Fernando in that central space. He was, I've heard of them referred to as the glue guy or the glue girl, the glue man, the glue woman, the glue person. He was gluing that middle space and really covering a lot of unmarked territory. Keddy contested that one shot, but for the most part, he was kind of open and providing those pop passes and movements within the center. I really hope that he's not on this line, but Credo kind of needs that central person really running that middle space a little bit more. In the meantime, consistently we're seeing handler movement, strong handler movement. McGinnis coming all the way back for the swing around.
A zone defense here from Big. Lewis gets it before Halbin can close in. A nice reset to Te to find McGinnis going to Cat Taylor Nartz, who takes a knee to keep that one off the turf. Lewis available as support. Lynch scrambling to cover the next option. It's McIntosh on an inside. Goes for Taylor Nartz with a big shot, blading over early for Nauman. He's got it.
And why would you not put that throw up now in such a solid receiver? You know, with that separation from the deep. That was textbook zone offense.
What a beautiful way to tie the game. The score is 9 apiece. Credo to come out on defense now after that great grab by Nauman. We get to see it again. McIntosh gets a bite out of the defense from Panaya, who slightly overshoots. Taylor Nartz with a great outside flick. It starts to roll over. Nauman underneath it. What a point.
And just so well weighted. As Blair mentioned, it's an outside-in flick. We can see that once again as it swung a beautiful inside to Taylor Nartz, and then the outside in edge he puts on it, but then the wind, just the slight cross breeze, pushes it down away and straight into Nauman's beautiful positioning. He's read that, he's in the right spot, and yeah, makes a great catch. What a good point for Credo. Meanwhile, we've got Big down to respond on offense. I know I'd love to see more of that quick flowing movement that we saw the last points. Or potentially Reisner not on the field, but those exciting long shots that are getting us fired up. That big, mammoth, ginormous ultimate Frisbee.
Great pull. Hopefully no offside's going to be called. It's a little bit overcooked. It's going to fade away out the back of the end zone.
Now I want to take this is a very quick break and play while Tito Smith recovers the disc. He did this before, and it's so small, but I just want to mention it. The way he backpedals. Normally in Ultimate, people don't backpedal. You'll turn your hips to shuffle from side to side, but it's actually really great that he's doing that there. What he's doing is he's keeping the disc in front of him. If it goes out of bounds, it's right in front of him to pick up, but if it stops, he can pick up and adjust really quickly. It's just a really elite, I think, way of seeing a pull come down.
So he's going to take that same elite skill and initiate play, looking for an early reset to Panaya, back to Tito Smith. We are seeing a great foot block from Cat Taylor Nartz. The zone is doing what the zone does. Oh my goodness. Get shut down. What a play. It's Nauman wants to wind up the hammer, decides to go around to Taylor Nartz. You gotta be kidding.
What vision on that. She knew exactly where it was going to be, just kicks out her foot. The disc goes
too clean and a huge play, but it's an option.
McIntosh.
How did McIntosh read that? Great layout bid there by Panaya to try and secure the block. And it's going to be Lewis to take them up by 1.
You know that.
What a break.
That foot block got everyone fired up. Panaya just laying out with a D, both teams, but it is Credo that maintains that pressure, intensity to see it in. What a great point.
Oh my goodness. I mean, look, hand blocks are one thing. Being able to get your hand right in the path of a throw, feeling the sting of it against your palm on a cold morning, it's one of those things that makes you feel truly alive. A foot block, It's more, it's bigger. It makes you feel like the sky has opened up, the clouds have split, and a spotlight from God is shining upon you.
And I think
Cat tail and arts, what a play.
Spotlight shining on you and just exemplifying the vision. You know, why sting your hand when you can just use that cushioning from your boot to just stop that throw outright? You know, why lean down with your hand when you can just pick your foot up a little bit? Just such great vision there and a great catch.
Now, have to give credit where it's due to that huge play by Panaya. The great two-handed, like he's trying to shut a door on the Credo defensive line who are now playing offense. And just the way that the wind picked that disc up and flew it and allowed McIntosh to make a second play. This, folks, is what Ultimate is all about. That zone just so quick, and then just the immediate snap of the foot out for that block. I'm stunned.
This is the third place match. This is New Zealand Ultimate. It's what it's all about.
We are going to see Tiang with the pull. That great early rotation, whipping those hips around. What a great position there. An opportunity as Clark makes an aggressive chase before Halpin can initiate. He's going to let the around go to Panaya, who takes to the skies to get it marked by Wong. Pushing towards the far sideline. Again, Kitty.
Nothing is too high for that man to reel in. Same with Halpin as he's forcing it down the line.
O'Connor.
Great cut as she's looking for options, Panaya, Mr. Consistency, runs on the open side. He's indicating downfield. He's quarterbacking the team where he wants the options. Ketty finds it break.
Kitty cutting across the front of the disc. It's an inside shot to Parsons as Tiang gets in front of it. Halbin being signaled to cut back into the deep space and almost bid there by Wong. But Panaya's going to get it threading through to Kitty. They're right on the doorstep. Who's going to close the point out? It's a nice, safe reset back to Panaya. Here's the inside, and I think Wong got a touch on that one, too.
You know, I was going to say, there's point after, just throw after throw, where Panaya, Ketty, Parsons had been looking to the break, especially those insides, so Wong recognized that. He recognized that, saw it, and shut it down, and is that an injury? You're talking about the sting of the hand block.
Oh, we get to see it again. Such great defense from Credo.
Just recognizing again. Just recognizing what they've done over and over, and Wong said, you've done it once, you've done it twice, and it's not going to happen a third time.
Did they not feed their ultimate players down in Christchurch? Why are they so hungry? Great work by Wong there, calling an injury substitution. Maybe just going to take a moment to see the way that his hand reddens up from the sting, but it's going to give Credo an opportunity to come back through. It's Brent Douglas putting a big shot up, looking for Clark.
What a matchup!
Whitlock in pursuit. He goes early. Clark's got it. It's unlike Whitlock to go early. Fernando, he wanted to wind up that near side shot, but Kitty with the vision to close that one down.
Engaging Tiang with the dump. A pick on the field. And one thing, just back to that catch, that read from Clark. I heard from Credo, oh my God. They're impressed. They're loving their team. They're hyped on the sideline as well. Such a strong point as Tiang is looking for the open option. We've got a strike cut looked off. Clark coming under all the way through. Jung resets, a great decision as she looks break. Mance looking for the strike.
Nice up line there marked by Terry. Decides that Fernando on the around is going to be the better option. Puts it up. It's fading hard. Douglas gets a hand to it, but he's not going to be able to come down with it. Great closure there by the rest of the big defense.
Douglas, he's got so many shots. He's been doing such a good job with the disc, but he's had a few bobbles in this game. Maybe the pressure. I know a case of the dropsies can
Fernando
stick
really
with you.
Body checking through that one.
Yeah.
The disc is going to be checked back in. Whitlock is looking to go deep. He sends it long. Who's going to be underneath it? Whitlock for sure.
Oh, an
despite
incredible
a great bid by Clark. Forced to go back around to Panaya, wide across the field as Fernando tries to get in position to shut down Kitty's assist. Goes back to Panaya. They're losing yards slowly. It's Whitlock as Clark closes. Big fakes needing something to move. Panaya has it. He's right on the doorstep. Can they close with a big hammer? Who's got it?
You know,
What a touch by Fernando!
They're struggling there. That stack is... I'm sorry to say that stack is just stagnant. You know, we've got that movement. We've got Whitlock, Keddy, Panaya, and maybe that's part of the game plan to just leave the handlers to it. But there weren't a lot of options, Blair.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and it could be largely mental more than it is strategic. I think with the amazing plays we've seen, Kat Taylor-Natz's foot block, we saw Wong's hand block, we saw Fernando's great run through touch there. That defensive pressure can be so imposing. It feels like you are trapped in a cage with a tiger. You see these players even a little bit close to you. Clark, answers with a hand block back the other way.
We heard that. Did you guys pick that up on the audio?
Whitlock puts it down. Oh my goodness, somebody is not afraid of the big cats. It's Nicholas Whitlock chipping around to Parsons. O'Connor overthrowing. Kitty's gonna get it. Is the question. It looks like it's in.
I thought that was in too. You don't want to say it until they've confirmed it, but great to see that spirit on the field.
The game is tied.
The tensions are high. We're seeing some incredible ultimate right now. Let's see it again.
That hand block. Ooh.
You know, we talk about forces in ultimate, the force with a mark, you're taking away half the field, you're taking away the key options, but there's no need for a force if you're going to stop whatever throw is coming out. And again, the catch for Keddy, what a good point. Reeling it in. It looks like the team was getting a bit tired, a bit intimidated, but coming out with a ferocious claws for Nicholas Whitlock there, as Blair coined.
Cheers, call that man Duplo, because I haven't seen a block that big in a while.
Oh, goodness.
We will be back after this short timeout to see how the rest of this match, 10 apiece, plays out.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
We are back as Big break the huddle. A little bit of thanks to our team here at ULTI.TV, without whom we could not bring you the very best in Ultimate from here, Australia, and around the world. If you like what you see and you want to help us bring you some more of the very best sport in all the world from some of the best athletes in this or any country, including those who rank higher than us on the National Happiness Index, head on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV and give us your spare change.
An interesting timeout called. Yeah, the score is 10-10. It's a hotly contested match. It's anyone's game at this point. The power, the intensity, the plays that we're seeing the teams leave out on the field. It's a privilege to watch, and thank you for joining us.
What I can tell you, Kelsey, is this definitely feels like the last game of the season for these teams. There's nothing being left behind. Oh, Kat Taylor-Natz, what a foot block. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, followed by Wong with a hand block, followed by Whitlock with a hand block. It's a game of blocks as the throws are being shut down. Tight defense downfield. Defense from Big, trying to stop what Credo has to offer into space for Tiong.
Puts up high, finds Clark. We've got McGuinness pushing deep, marked by Dinsdale. Mance marked by Lynch. The undercut goes around to Becky Farr.
Looking for Clark, who's picked up by Whitlock downfield, recognizing that threat.
Two cuts to that up line, but it's going to be Tiang who gets it. Jackson Joel out of position, but is there a touch by Titov Smith? There is. Oh, my goodness.
Such good positioning and read. Titov Smith safely recognizing that, using his speed to catch up. To force that out of bounds. Now he's picking up the disc, looking for options, engaging the reset. Oh, what in a round!
What a grab by Clark.
Clark centering. Oh, nice
Joel,
movement.
Straight back to Titov Smith. Finds Reisner far sideline. The height difference between her and Tiong doesn't appear to be impacting her ability to throw. Anyway, finds Dinsdale, goes to Titov Smith. Becca Booth as Big take the lead. The score is going to be 11-10.
Formerly a player in the Christchurch scene, Booth is making strides here, representing Wellington, representing Big Ultimate, making a massive play of her own, finding that break side. She's such a strategic player. She's so fast, so athletic, leaving her mark in that end zone, putting another point on the board for Big.
It is hard to tell if those shivers up my spine are the chill from the wind or the excitement. Who am I kidding? It's from the excitement. Big up by 1. They're going to come out on defense. We're going to see Credo take the line one more time. I don't think we've seen a couple of really tight matches throughout the course of the tournament, but I think this is the one that is closest. Absolute masterclass of never giving up, never backing down. I mean, Big came in, I think they were up by a few early, but it's tight all the way back through the rest of the first half, and the second half as well.
I really love the way Big's been rotating through the handlers, and Tito Smith did such a great job of coordinating that line, opening up that central space a bit more, and making those connections. It was a nice flowing point for them. We have a large line on the field for Big. Whitlock with the disc in hand as they're going to be coming out on defense. Looking at strategic markups, this is critical at this stage, of course. Looking at the matchups, which skills match to which skills on the team. Handler marks who's best in those tight spaces, who has really great positioning and footwork, potential speed downfield, and matchups with blocks, stopping those deep looks.
Huge, big pull that's going to touch over, rolling over. What a great pull fielded by Taylor Nartz to Taylor Nartz to Taylor Nartz. Lets the big rip. He's got Nauman and Lewis in pursuit. It's Halbin. No, it's Lewis. He's got it. He's going to tie the game.
Quick point on the board for Credo. We love flowy ultimate. We love the quick give and goes. We love those connections. But why?
It's the
Why
highlights.
burn through the time when you can just swing, and then launch it deep for a catch like that?
I mean, that's the thing. If you've got players like Jack Lewis that you can send deep, to have Nauman in support as well, even though you've got great defenders there like Halbin and Van Bergen.
Incredible.
Why would you throw 3, 4, 10, 15 passes? Because that's just opportunities to potentially turn the disc. Why not just do it in one?
Why not just do it in one? Credo shows us that they can.
It's Credo, not Credo not.
As they rack one more point on the board. It's difficult to even break down, discuss, parse through that type of offense when it's so clean, so fast, so quick, and that's exactly what it is. It's quick offense, and quick is efficient. It saves legs, it's speedy, and it's great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if the points are really short, you're really just doing sprint intervals. It feels a little bit like training with the occasional throw and catch tossed in there. It's those really long points where people start to grind down. That's when we see where the mental resilience comes in. But if you've got shooters out here, why not just send some shots?
Shooter's going to shoot. We've got Tito Smith finding Whitlock. Some nice give goes between those two handlers. Whitlock responding.
It's a lot of inside.
Looking for O'Connor for a honey pass.
Nauman over the top.
Close.
That's what they need. It's going to be Lewis one more time on the near sideline. He's putting a shot up. A great bit. Is it Adele Bissling? Yes, it is.
Tito Smith recognizing that. Some polite applause. Yeah, really Big was completely out of position to defend that.
I think that's one of those moments where they didn't maybe make that switch back between defense and offense quick enough, or offense and defense rather. They kind of let that one happen. There was a great bit on that near sideline. A player basically leaping their own height in the air to try and block that lane, but that shot from Jack Lewis was uncontested. Bessling, I believe that's her third point of the game, certainly at least her second point of the second half after closing that first half.
Again,
unbelievable.
88. It's not a lucky number for Bessling. That's pure hard work. That's pure speed. That's pure celebration and joy. Look at that.
Nauman to Lewis. No mark on him.
Yeah, we've got Whitlock then. As you see it go up, and Whitlock takes a massive swipe. He takes to the skies to try to touch it. But a really intelligent throw. Again, that slight outside in angle, sneaking its way around. Whitlock noticing him as a potential barrier. If he gets a hand on it, especially at that height, could go out of bounds. So really well put, recognizing the danger. Yeah, and accommodating for that.
Credo up by 1. We have a game to 15 at the moment, although there are only 4.5 minutes or so on our soft cap. Tiang with the disc for the pull. At this point, it really is going to be a case of who's going to give up the fewer breaks.
I love that Douglas, we were talking about disrespecting the pull before. That's pure respect. The pull goes far and he races down. He stops the first throw from even coming off. Halbin launches downfield, finds O'Connor.
Halbin to O'Connor.
Lynch is hungry for that deep look. O'Connor holsters. Finds Panaya.
Nearly
with a
getting
strike.
a touch. Baron Douglas, but it's not going to be enough. Panaya has it near sideline. Parsons, despite the bid from Tiang.
At this point, Big just working it up the sideline. A much-needed centering pass to Panayas. He's looking for the continuation. Oh, great break side look from Terry. He finds her.
Mance aggressive on defense, but it's going to go back to Panaya. Terry is available as a reset option, getting used there. Panaya pushing across the front of the disc. Wants to find Halbin, struggling.
Halbin looking at options, assessing the field. Again, a bit of a... Oh, beautiful.
A huge take by O'Connor to tie the game.
And that was needed. There wasn't a lot happening. Maybe O'Connor was an isolation cut. They really needed that, though, because there wasn't much happening in the stack. It cleans up the space in the rest of the end zone, but it can leave the handler out to dry. Not the case right now as O'Connor finds it, makes it, breaks open, and scores the point.
We're going to see it develop now right in the front of the stack,
Again,
seeing the blind spot in front.
Not a lot happening here until
There
O'Connor
it is.
recognizes.
Not the kindest throw. She had to go pretty low to grab it, but it'll do.
An ankle biter.
It'll do, Big. It'll do.
An ankle biter is a hand biter when you're a strong tenured player such as O'Connor. I just commenting on the stagnancy, waiting for options to develop. So really props to O'Connor for recognizing that, running into that space and putting that point on the board for Big.
Now, here's the important thing. As the score is 12-12, Credo to come out on offense. Unchecked, if offense is allowed to score and the players trade, the game is going to go to Credo. That is written. It is what is going to happen unless Big can pour on that defensive pressure and generate a break. If they can't, it'll go 13-13, 14-14, 15 for the score for Credo. So Big need to do something here.
And this is the line right now. I think this is the line to do it. We see imposing defensive threats such as Whitlock, Reisner, Panaya, strong athletic defensive players such as Staley.
Titov Smith as well, Aston.
Yeah, so we'll see what they have. They need to make this defensive play.
Mance available as a near side reset, gets used. Becky Farr comes in to continue that. Reisner closes down the trap. Titov Smith pressuring McKenzie. No upline's going to come. Reisner so shifty on the mark.
Great find with Tiang.
Tiang putting it up.
Unleashing.
Oh, and it's going to touch down out of bounds, which means we're actually going to lose a lot of yards. That's not a territorial option there.
I think it was a great decision. You see how far Tiang ended up? She was facing almost the other direction because all of that momentum went into that throw, launching it downfield. Just forced out of bounds. I know she's not pleased with the result. Again, she fully rotates the other direction as all that momentum goes into the throw.
We can see here, yeah. They're going to lose a lot of yards on that throw. Oh, that's about where it came back in. So maybe 5 or 6 meters in front of the end zone is probably the best place to bring it back in. Looks like they're going to bring it back in right in front of the corner. Great spirit there. Titov Smith, a centering pass, goes wide. Reisner, marked by Becky Farr, chips around to Staley. A nice one, too, to Titov Smith, who keeps the give and go going. Panaya.
Such calm offense. I really like this. There's a sense of poise with Titov Smith and Panaya right now as they're making easy throws to each other. They're making it look like they're not struggling. Whitlock fighting to get open against Clark.
Aston has it. Mance closing down. O'Connor gets it in hands.
Puts it into space for Whitlock. Again, this is a sense of poise that they're bringing right now. Is
he going to throw the hammer? Not quite. Nice little chip shot to Titov Smith. Lasers around to a static Reisner in the end zone.
What is this game?
The score is 13 to Big, 12 to Credo. I mean,
that is the break. Again, I'm flattered. I'm very flattered, Big. Thank you. I said this is the line to do it. It was imposing just such a strong defensive line when you were looking at them pulling down there, and they've done it. They've pulled ahead. Connor, props for holding on to that, reeling it in, and they made it look easy. Just such a fascinating point. There's been so much hard work on the field, not to say they're not working hard. They're working so hard that it looks easy to a poached player in the end zone. Yeah, just finding those options. Credo working hard to put that pressure on defense. Yeah, but Big just finding their way around it. Is this going to continue?
I've got to be honest, Kelsey. I don't know if my heart can take the excitement of a final that comes after this game. If it's anything as intense, as hotly contested, as fiery, as explosive, as adrenaline-inducing as this game, this might be my retirement from commentary altogether. All the cardiovascular work in the world is not going to give my heart the strength to survive another game like this.
And just a testament to all the teams that we've seen. There have been so many close games that have been streamed. I'd like to argue that's not just because they're streamed, but because of the hard work that all these teams have put in. And what a great example of it right here. Such a close matchup, such great ultimate. Tail Lennart seeing the disc to the ground, letting Clark run up, but he centers it. No issue to Tail Lennart, finding McGinnis with an undercut.
Around Reisner, can she get there? She's starting to engage that mark. The upline shut it down. That's going to be a block and a turn.
Can Big convert is the question.
If they can, they may just walk away with this one. It's Nicholas Whitlock.
He's trying to slow things down, and that slow approach to the disc, finding Reisner at the front of the stack. What a break!
Overthrow, but Dinsdale's going to reach for it. Dinsdale's going to get there.
Not overthrown to Dinsdale with that speed. She closes in, finds it on the break side. Wow, that was another break for Big.
That is what they needed. The score is going to be 14-12, and 1 point away from winning.
I don't know what it was. Again, that last point, they just made it look so easy. They've been working so hard. I felt like it was a different team that just made that defensive play and walked it into the end zone. They made that defensive play and made it look easy again. Are we going to see one more point on the board, or are Credo going to stop it here?
Only time will tell. Credo's offensive line to come out.
One more time, Whitlock finding Reisner from the front of the stack, and then a great breakthrough. Difficult for Tail Lennart on defense. Again, she's marking intelligently on the open side. It's up to the mark to stop those breakthrows from coming off. So Tail Lennart is doing all she can to recover and stop that break side. But a beautiful leading pass puts, the positioning on the disc for Dinsdale to reel it in safely.
And as Big are going to come out on defense for what they hope to be the last time, Titoff Smith with the pull. We've received confirmation that our Fivals, the 5th playoff, has been concluded. Old Boys Sports Club coming down with it over DMT. What a match that must have been. We're going to see what happens in the rest of this match, and then we have one more for you as the Tail Lennart says, working with Lewis.
Again, it's not an ankle biter. If you're a strong tenured player such as Lewis, it's a hand biter.
Big Hammer Fate gets a bite from Van Bergen. Lewis and Tail Lennart's not enough, developing in the downfield space. Slight overthrow on Lewis. Again, a hard thing to do.
Yeah, Tail Lennart, she's challenging Lewis as a receiver there, not an ankle biter or a hand biter, but that one went a bit too far. She's been so consistent so far this game, and right now some slight misfires, no doubt getting out those niggles. If they can get the D.
Timeout called by Joseph Penaya. What a play.
Why is that a good idea, Blair?
Aside from the fact that it's going to give us about a minute and a half to maybe calm down and catch our breath in the commentary booth, that huge pressure to generate that turn, to get back possession, this is going to allow them to focus in. The depth, the skill on Big side, they have the range to put this one away now, and the question is, how do they plan on doing it? Are they going to be able to do it? What do they want to achieve? It's going to be Joseph Panaya to start with the disc and initiate. What kind of support is he calling for from his teammates? What kind of play, what structure are they going to run? What are they expecting to see in response from Credo? This is their opportunity to walk away with a medal, to put it away now.
Absolutely. We'll see. Credo breaks the huddle with a cheer. They're digging deep for energy right now, I think, is what they're discussing. They're digging deep. They're finding their space. They're going to lay their hearts out on the field to make this defensive play. Love the comms between the Tail and Arts right now. Sam and Kat shaking each other's hands, getting each other hyped into what they need to shut down this offensive play. A beautiful vert stack. So big, just setting up, it looks like Classic, unless they've made specific calls out of this, just running their offense as they've trained.
We might see. It's going to be, I'm anticipating, it's either going to be Halbin or O'Connor who really fire this one up, make that great initiating cut. Campbell Nauman, great on defense. McGinnis, similar, marking O'Connor.
Some open and break side marks on the stack, which is really interesting to me. Respecting Panaya's tenacity as a thrower.
We do see both of those cuts developing from the back of the stack. It's lovely when a commentator can get it right. The high shot over the top to Staley. Macaulay Scott takes a bite. Goes back around to Panaya. Big fake. Lewis shuts that down. There it is. Halbin goes up too early. It's Nauman. This is what Credo need.
And a bit slow out of the stack there, I think, due to the solid defense from Credo. Finding Tail and Arts.
Marked by Van Bergen. Comes around to McIntosh's Titov Smith. He lets a shot go up and Tara O'Connor says no.
That's not a pick she's indicating. That's her swole muscles as she knocks
More
that
like
down.
Tara, no, Connor. You're not getting past me today. We're going to see a little bit of a repeat. Panaya picks up and initiates. Finds O'Connor far sideline. McGinnis aggressive on the defense, but she lets the reset go around to Panaya. Marked by Jack Lewis. Staley stuck tight to Macaulay Scott. Can't shake her. Nice upline, huge bid by Tail and Arts to bring it back to Credo position. My sincerest apologies to our ULTI.TV teammates in the booth who are having to, on the fly, adjust the level of my microphone to try and prevent my excitement from blowing out your speakers at home.
Tail and Arts calling an injury there, it looks like. That was a massive play from her. And you know,
there's leaving the body on the line.
You don't want to be injured in a game like this. You don't want to be injured ever. You know, if there's any time to be injured, though, now is it. Now is when Credo needs to shut down those offensive opportunities. And if Kat Teo's leaving the season like that, she's made an incredible mark on not only the season, this game for her team, for her club.
Lewis up to McIntosh. Goes back around to Lewis over Panaya. One through to Tail and Arts. What a score to bring it back to a 1-point game. No doubt in my mind, it's 14-13, race to 15. Break is going to make. All right, break it till you make it. That is the Credo motto right now. A single hold is going to take Big to the podium for the bronze medal. Credo need a break and then another break if they want to win.
They're on the back step, but, you know, in many ways they're on the front foot, having just scored that point. That point brings them momentum. It brings them energy. As with massive plays like Tail and Arts' layout D, you know, that break side point, boom, pass. Finding boom, pass to then the break side. What great movements. And you know, in many ways, again, while Credo has a longer road ahead of them, they're on the front foot in that having just scored that point, they have momentum on their side.
So we saw a timeout be called, and why wouldn't you really if you had the opportunity? Now is the time to get everything dialed and everything focused up, especially after, just Halbin slightly overstating that one, or
you know,
just a mistiming something. O'Connor getting it back. My goodness.
Blair, I feel like Big has been a little bit inconsistent with their offense. We've seen in that last point, after that timeout, there was slow movement. They were struggling to get open, and that was so inconsistent with their previous 2 points where they were just flow, finding, boom, boom. And so we need more of that. I'm not sure where it's coming from. If it's you know, it's inconsistent with the players that are on the field. Sometimes they're picking it up and moving, and sometimes they're picking it up and it's just slow and stagnant. So they need to keep that flow going if they want to score this point. The stands are filling up as fans are here to watch this third place match. Teams have spread the sidelines as well. We've got Credo and Big players providing comms from both sides around the commentary booth.
I don't think Big expected this to be as hard a fought third place final as it is. Credo, they came fourth last year. They've wanted a medal for what seems like the longest time. This could be their best shot at it. Natalie Tiang with the pull. The nice clap of unity. We're going to see McIntosh, McGuinness, Douglas, Farr.
I think she put a little too much edge on that. It with a slight crosswind that's picked up, just pulled it immediately out of bounds.
On the sideline, managing to save the lives of the players on the sideline. Typical Eagle Scout, always prepared. Jackson Joe shaking his hand, saying, "I'm so grateful to you."
We've got Will Cox. So interestingly, it's about where the brick mark is. The disc went out, but when the disc is centered, it provides so much more width of the field that the players can use to get open.
Struggling a little bit to find the lightly painted X, as the field has been quite dry since we lost that rain in the first day. Ground's dried up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit harder to sort of see things.
I wanted to say what a fascinating setup they have, but in reality, it's O'Connor off to the races, just setting up her cuts already.
Putting a shot up, looking for Hoban. Can't get there because it's McGuinness in the way. She's just drinking that up.
She's the apex predator on the field with her lion's mane of a ponytail, flying in the wind, saying not today.
McIntosh gets it. We got two pushing deep. Far just overthrows Tiang on the reset.
They're
Clark
calling
scrambling.
slow. Parsons is the voice of calm on the field, and Whitlock gives her the thumbs up as she says, we need to set this up. This is not a fire and miss shot. This is our chance at a third place win. You know, Reisner walking up calmly to the disc inside.
Halbin for the score and the game. That is exactly it. I mean, when you're that close to the end zone, it's what you need to do. You need to set it down, be calm. You could see how deeply they pushed all of their players to the back of the zone, creating as much open as possible for arguably, like, just one of the best male matching players in the country, Peter Halbin, to just do what Peter Halbin does, and that is going to be it. Big from Wellington to take third place.
And I love points like that. You know, it was one throw, one catch. Reisner picked it up. She passed it to Hoban, who scored the point. But in many ways, that was a team point. That was everyone recognizing where they needed to be, providing that space. Parsons communicating to everyone what needed to happen. A team way to win, despite one throw, one catch, winning as a team. Great job. Congratulations to Big.
Huge shout out to both of these teams for giving everything
as well
for such a fantastic third place bronze final for us to be a part of, to provide you with context and commentary when you're watching at home. I could not be prouder of any of these players, and I hope that they sleep deeply tonight, proud in the work that they have brought here. It turns out Big is going to stand for bronze. I'll get one. Until the next game, the final game of our coverage for the 2023 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 1 at Bob Dean's Field in Christchurch. The final match of the Othro-tahi and Oto-tahi. We will be back soon with ULTI.TV so that you can see Kudos versus Boat, one of which will be crowned your eventual winners. Until then, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kelsey Bielik.
We will be back with you very soon.
Matewa.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.